everyone, this is Ashish, and today we are going to continue our session on remoting. So far we have already discussed two types of remoting. One is interactive and ad hoc remoting, and now we will be discussing persistence session and implicit remoting. So let's begin our session. So before going ahead, let's just have a brief out about the previous two types of remoting. One was ad hoc remoting. So ad hoc remoting is quite simple, that you just you have a commandlet like get service, okay, and that particular commandlet has a computer name field. So if this is the way you are providing a remote computer name over here, then this is a remoting, but it is a ad hoc remoting, since you are just providing the computer name in the commandlet itself. You are not creating any implicit session where you are mentioning how to connect and things like that. So this is ad hoc. Just like ad hoc commands, you have ad hoc remoting as well. So if I have a remote computer over here, I have a Hyper-V Windows server. So this is the host name. So if I give the host name here, just copy it, okay, and paste it over here. Here it won't work because in this remoting you don't have an option to provide explicitly the credential. So the credential you are using to launch the PowerShell, so the computer should be on the domain or should have the same credential access on both of the computer, then only it will work. So if you have a production machine on the same domain, and if you have a user credential which is available on your local computer as well as on your remote computer, so launch your PowerShell on your local computer using that credential, then you can use the ad hoc remoting this way. Okay, so this is one of the way of using remoting. Then the other way we have talked about that, it is interactive. So interactive is enter PS session. Okay, so enter PS session, you mention the computer name. Okay, so we will give the same computer name over here, and then you will give the credential. Okay, so I will provide credential using this commandlet. So this will prompt me to give the credential. Let me just make it a little bit. Okay, so if I enter, it should ask me the credential. So I will give the credential over here. And if I enter, it will just go ahead and connect to that computer. It will take a little bit time because I'm using my local laptop lab environment. I would say I've created a Hyper-V image on this, and then I'm connecting to the same computer. They are on different domains, but yes, they are connected using a private virtual network within the Hyper-V itself. So they are both connected, but they are not on the same domain. So it will take a while. While it is connecting, I can show you it should be able to ping that particular machine. Okay, it's waiting. Okay, so ping is there. Sooner or later it should connect. So just wait for a time. So it should connect. It's just running. I have a domain controller installed there as well. So if I ping that domain, I should be able to ping, right? So connectivity is there. So it should be able to just go through it. I just want to show the remoting. Okay, so we are on the, you can see that this host name is there. Instead of this, you have this host name. So you are interactively connected to that computer now. So whatever you will run over here, now it will run on that computer. So let's try that. if I want to get the environment variable, okay, and the computer name, suppose I want the computer name, okay, so it should give me the computer name of that computer, not my computer. If I go exit out of this interactive session, exit PS session, so I am exiting, a little bit slow, maybe because of my local network or the capability of laptop and the network. So it's just a lab environment to test these scenarios. So still waiting, should not take that much time. So if I will open a new PowerShell, okay, so we are out of that window, out of that interactive shell. So if I will get the same environment variable now, okay, and if I will enter, I will get the local computer name. So as you can see, so by interactively I was able to run the commands against that computer. So this is that was interactive session. So this is all brief we already have covered. Now let's cover the next topic, that is persistence session. Okay, so persistence session is as the name suggests, here you will create a persistent session. So you will have a session, you will have a kind of local copy of session, which whenever you want to run certain things against that computer, you can use that session. So that is a session variable actually, and it is a type actually, PS session. So instead of enter PS session, we will use the new PS session. This is the way you can create your own session variable. So enter PS session gets you into the interactive PowerShell session, and new PS session will help you to get a new session variable which you can use anywhere in your script or anywhere. So what I want to say that so far we were able to run the commands or the things in the shell, okay, but now if we want to write a script, and within a script if we want to use a remoting, then this persistence session is one of the way we can get help for running our commands remotely. So let's go ahead. So I will create a my session variable, okay, and I will say new PS session, okay, and instead of enter PS session I am creating a new PS session of which computer, okay. So this computer, I will give the computer name, and what would be the credential. So for credential you have multiple options. You can provide a certificate file over here. You can provide a XML file containing hash value of your credential. I prefer right now prompting the user to get the credential at the runtime, so that we can verify the values, or we can skip saving our credentials. So for certificate as well, again you have multiple options, like you either can use self-signed certificate, which is not the which is actually the way many people use, but which is not the recommended way, okay. Then you have signed certificate, but then for that you will have to pay certain amount of certain amount as a fee to the certificate authority if you do not have your company as a certificate authority. So those things are you can use instead of get credentials, but this is one of the easiest way to get around this particular thing. So I have created a session over here, and what I am doing, I am getting this session variable into a my session variable. Right now I want to run a command like invoke. Actually let's do one thing, invoke command, okay, and the session, I want to use the session, this one, okay. And then I want to invoke a particular file on my local computer. So I have a file on my local computer. So the file name is, let's go back here. Okay. So get machine name WMI. So it uses a WMI class. Let me show you what exactly this file does. You know, if I will open a simple single line script, it does nothing, you know, exceptional. So you just get WMI object from this and select the name of the computer. So if I will run it, it should give me the computer name, right? This is the computer name on my local computer. But suppose you want to get this information from a remote computer. So you can have this script as much complex you can have, you know, having multiple WMI classes. Then you can select multiple things over there depending upon your need, like, you know, network card or maybe disk attached or things like that. But the primary goal over here is I have a script which I want to run against a remote computer. So what I can do, I can certainly create a session, you know, using invoke command. I will provide that session variable into that session, and then I will ask the file to be run on that computer. Let's try to run it and let's see the output. Okay, so if I will run it, it will first ask me the credential from the first line. So I will say administrator and my password. And if I will run, it should run and give me the remote computer name instead of my local computer name, because I am running it against the remote computer. So let's just wait. It will take a little bit time. It does not take this much time normally in your production environment, because in production environment the computers are already connected over a domain, probably. Then they have a same virtual network. You don't have to simulate that virtual network like I am, you know, doing using Hyper-V on my local host computer itself. So it's just for the testing purpose. But in your scenario where you will be running such commands, it will respond relatively fast. So as you can see that I have a computer name which is the remote computer name. Okay, so this is the way you can you can have a persistent variable. So you have a persistent variable, you know, you have created a session and then you have saved that session into this, and then you are running a command over here, then maybe doing certain things over here, and then again you thought of doing something on the remote computer, then you can just use the same session variable over there and you can use it. So this is the way you use persistent session. Okay, so let's go back to our slide and go to the next type, which is implicit remoting. Now what is implicit remoting? Let's go back to our now here. Let me close this one because we have certain things in the cache which might conflict maybe. So I have already, so let's clear it out and let's close this one as well. Okay, so implicit persistent remoting, as I told you, that you have a variable, you save it there, and then you know you can use that variable, that session variable, to provide as a session argument anywhere you want to run, and this will use the WinRM behind the scene, and it will, you know, do the work. Now the next thing is implicit remoting. Now what implicit remoting is, instead of running the command on the running the command on the remote computer, what you can do multiple things. You know, like one thing you can do is you can have your remote commandlets locally on your computer. And so what I mean by that, so let's do one thing. my computer is a Windows 10 computer, and I do not have Active Directory commanded. If I do not have any Active Directory commandlet available on my computer. Now suppose I want to run certain tasks related to Active Directory on the remote computer, and I want to have those commandlets available in my session or on my computer as well. So there are certain ways you can do that. The one way, let's do one thing. In the same way, let's go to the slide. Okay, so now we will try to do the implicit remoting. We have multiple ways of using this. So let's go to the first one first. So here I have, okay, on my remote computer, Active Directory role is installed. So if I will launch PowerShell over here, slow. So if I will go here, it is Windows PowerShell, and let me run IC. As administrator, and if I open here import module Active Directory, I mean I should be getting error, right? I do not have an Active Directory module installed over here, right? But I want to use that module on my local computer, right? So let's go to the remote computer and let's do the same thing over here. I should have okay, trying. Yeah, I have. Now let's do AD user. I have AD user, right? Identity. It's just I do not have many users or administrator. Okay, so administrator, I am getting the administrator user account, right? So in the similar way, I mean you can do a lot of things over there. So let's just go back to our local computer. I have a local computer, but what I want to do, this is a normal Windows PowerShell ISC, so let's run it as a administrator. Okay, and we will again create a new PS session just like we did last time in persistence session, and we will still have a session variable over here. But what we will do, we will just get the module from the remote computer on our local computer. Like, I mean, all the capabilities we have on remote computer, we will be able to use those capabilities as far as PowerShell is concerned in the local computer of PowerShell. Let's see how we can do that. So there, I mean, we can do this way as well. $my session, okay, is equals to new PS session. Similar way, computer name. Yeah, credential. Okay, and then what I will do, let's do one thing. Let's go step by step, because we will be experimenting. I mean, a little bit. I mean, so many options we have using implicit remoting. Control C, Control V. Okay, so it's asking me the password. So I have created the session just like last time, but now instead of running the command, I will use this session to to import the what I would say, the commands over there on the remote computer on this session. Port ps session variable. Okay, so session variable is my ps session, my session actually. Okay, and prefix. So you have an option to add prefix, like all the commandlets will have a prefix in their in their noun, so that you can differentiate the commandlets from the remote computer and from the local computer. So suppose you have certain things which are which are same in both of the computer, then in that scenario you would be able to see the remote remote in the commanded name of the commandlet which is coming from the remote computer. So prefix is the something you want to if you want to add something which is coming from the remote computer, so that you can actually recognize that. So let's just add remote over here. Okay, allow clobber. So allow clobber will do will get everything from there. Okay, so and then just run it. Okay, creating implicit remoting module, and it is getting commands information from remote session. So what it is doing, it is getting all the commands available in the remote session to your computer. There are few errors because there are few things which are not able to run, but then you have a temporary exported so many commands which you should be able to see that. Okay, let's do one thing. Earlier the AD commandlets were not available, right? So let's do get remote and then AD U 0. Seems like I'm missing something. Session remote. We are getting things over here, but I don't know why. Okay. AD job. Culture, remote history, remote job, remote PS session, remote. Oops. Okay, it seems like I did one thing, that I have to mention module as well. Yeah, I have to mention module as well, which module I want to have here. So let's run it again. Should be this time, it should be working. Again, it will take some time. Okay, right. Okay, now let's try to run get remote. You can see that you should be able to AD user. So you get AD user, instead of get AD user I am getting get remote AD user, because I have selected a remote prefix, you know, inside within the import PS session prefix. Okay, so that's why we are getting remote, but I mean it should be able to remote get remote AD user will be the same thing what get AD user is. And if I will run it, identity administrator, it should run the command against the remote computer which is available on my local computer. These commandlets were not in, you know, earlier was not available, so I, you know, I had to run it. So this is what, you know, import PS session does. Okay, so let's continue the next topic. The next way of, you know, using the implicit remoting. So one way is, you know, having this session. Okay, using this session to get all, you know, get the modules in your current session. So right now it is available in your current session, but once you close this session, you should not be able, I mean you would not be able to get the same commandlets again. So let's, you know, it is temporary, as you can see in the name itself. So if I close this one, no, and if I will run it again, you know, I lost that session session variable as well as those commandlets which I imported. Okay, let's run. Because of VM, computer is getting slow. Okay, starting. So here we have our ISC. So let's just check it out again. You know, it makes sense that you should not be able to access the my session variable as well, and also I should not have the same remote AD user, remote AD, no, nothing, right? So, you know, what if I want to have that capability, you know, to have all those commandlets in my local computer as well? So there is another way of doing that, using this. I will again create that my session using new PS session, and all of it you can, you know, use in your scripts as well, right? So it all depends upon your uses. Right now, since we are, you know, running 1 or 2 commands, that's why I'm using all of it in the shell itself. So if I copy it from here and paste it over there, and then again credential variable and get credential, and if I run it, so it should again create that value. And now I will, instead of let's just run it and I will show you. This is the only part which takes a lot of time, and I want to, you know, show it practically, each one of example as much I can, because this is something you will be using a lot. Okay, so we have the session variable created and we have the session. Now let's do, instead of import PS session, what I will do, export PS session and again session variable, and session variable will be my session, right? And then we have a module name is Active Directory. Then we give a output module. Okay, so output module is what it will do, it will export the session, okay, from the remote computer, and it will get this module in that session, and then it will save a module on your local computer with a name whatever you provide over here. So if you provide here AD CMD lets, so there will be a, let's just AD, okay, AD CMD lets. So just like Active Directory on the remote computer, you will have the same module with all the commandlets available for AD on the local computer with this name. You know, it will be saved just like any other module. And if I will run it, it will get the module and save it on my local computer, and it should give me the path as well, and I can show you the module files over there, PSM1 file and then PSD1 file for manifest and all those things. So let's just come in, and okay, so it is okay. So as you can see that there here is a file like PSM1 file, PSD1 file, and all those files, and this module has been stored on local machine, right, on local machine. So let's open that folder and let me see what has been saved. Just like any other module, okay, just like any other module, you will have a folder with all the module files, right? So now if I want to use that, you know, file, I can use it like import module, and you know, as we have the local on the local computer, the module name is ADCMDLet. It's not Active Directory. I could have named it just like that, but you know, just to not confuse, I am using a different name over here. So you can use the same name over here as well, ADCMD lets. So what it will do, it will import the module, and now if I do get AD user, I have a get AD user identity, and I will say administrator, and it should go there and connect to that remote computer, and it should get the administrator identity user account. And how it is doing actually, if I go there, it dedicatedly creates the session with, this is the manifest file. We will cover this when we will be discussing the module development. So here you can see it is a implicit remoting module, okay, generated on that, and as you can see, it is connecting to a particular computer, this computer over WSMan, right? So this is, and the module file is this one, and if I go to the module file, I should be able to see the module file, module information over there, all the commandlets, and you should be able to make out of it once we will cover the module development. Not all of it, but you know, you will start understanding the flow and the, you know, how it works actually. And it is very important to understand modules because this is the way you would be able to, you know, debug your script if it involves a particular module, or if it involves a experimental module, or if it involve a module which is written by someone else. So on all of it we will be covering, which will be the advanced part. But for the time being, our focus is that how we can do remoting. So this is this is one of the way of doing implicit remoting. So what we have covered so far is in one way you have a implicit remoting, okay, with a new PS session, and then you import that session into your current shell. So you have all the commandlets available on the remote computer on your local computer. So it will be temporarily in that shell session only, right? But now if you want to have that session, have that commandlets available on your local computer all the time, then what you can do is you will use export CS session. So export PS session will will get the session along with the module, and will store that module onto your local drive instead of into a temporary file in the current session only, right? So these are the two ways of having implicit remoting. And then I have an example of implicit remoting which normally we do for for Office 365 or Exchange. Those who are coming from Exchange background, they must be familiar with this syntax. It is doing the same thing actually. It is creating a session with a connection URI, okay, with that remote shell, and then getting the get credential, and then it is importing that remote session into your current shell, and then you can use your Office 365 or Exchange PowerShell commandlets in your local computer. So this is one of these are the different ways of using implicit remoting, and these are the most common things you will do if you interact with the remote computer from your local computer. So persistent remoting and implicit remoting, very useful. They are 90% of the time it will help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve remotely on your computer. And then interactive remoting and ad hoc remoting is also available for you, right? Now the next session and the next topic would be script debugging and error handling. So we will we will be this will be an advanced topic, I would say. Not advanced, but it is kind of for those who do lot of scripting, or they want to use other programming tools available with PowerShell to help them do more error handling and script debugging, so that they can achieve a efficient tool using PowerShell. So just I will be uploading the next video next week, and keep watching and keep sharing, and comment there if you want me to cover anything extra over there, or if you face any issue, just post it on YouTube channel, and I will try to probably cover it in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.